Well, hello, Boo. Welcome back to the podcast, the No BS Human Design Podcast, a top 3% podcast. Like, that is still fucking wild. Thank you for being here. I have another one of what appears to be your favorite conversation type of episodes. I've got my witches here today. The Weathervane Witches are back on the podcast for another conversation that, of course, is just going to be filled with everything that we need right now. We actually recorded this a few weeks ago, like maybe even a month ago, but it's almost more relevant now than it was then. So, of course, all topics from money and what true abundance is and just finances in general right now, I know are weird. So, this is a fantastic conversation with my girls, Nicole Pope, Jessica Bridge, and Rachael Phelan. They'll give you a little wait, what words? A little intro into who they are once you first start listening. But before we dive in, let's get through the things that we just need to talk about. The YouTube channel is no longer going to have all of these episodes on it. So we've done some restructuring in my business. And that means not having someone put all of the episodes on YouTube. Now, that being said, if there's something where I'm looking at a chart and I'm doing a lot of like visual things, I'm still going to post it and I'll let you know in the intro or the episode when it is available on YouTube. But for now, everything else is going to strictly stay audio. We just did not have the resources and the time to really commit to being on YouTube and what that growth looks like and the investment that it already was taking to get it up on YouTube. It was just too much. So, we're peeling back there unless I say so, then it will be up. But this episode's going to be up. Starting in July, they will no longer be up. Second thing to share with you is the pay in full huge fucking discount for the Magnetic Rebellion ends in June. What's that? Next Monday, June 30th. So you can currently get inside the Magnetic Rebellion for only $222. That's literally less than a chart reading with me right now for the whole year. And that is going away June 30th. There will be a painful option, but it will be a lot higher. This is like 100 and I forget what the math was, 100 and something less than it would be for 12 months of the month by month. Now, that being said, the monthly $27 a month option is still very much available to you if you're like, I really want to get in this community while it's still intimate and small. But if you want no payments, no subscriptions, anything like that, I know we don't always love adding more memberships and subscriptions to our finances. That's why the painful option is there. So that goes away in just a few days. We have some really epic shit coming over this summer. I know a lot of people like slow down things over the summer, and I'm like, no, this is like, we're like really getting into like the juice of what I wanted this community to be. Now that it's been growing, there's beautiful conversations inside of it. I mean, just so fucking good. And in July, we're going to be doing some divine feminine work, some looks at Mary Magdalene and the feminine Christ, basically Christianity that took away the
Welcome
divine
to the
feminine.
No BS
And then in
Human
August, we're
Design
officially
Podcast.
starting our
I'm
astrology
Adriana
pathway.
Keith, human design coach
if
and
you don't know
motivational
what the
speaker.
rebellion is,
I went through my quarter life
I
crisis in my 20s and
used
had to
to
learn
have
how
a
to
membership
navigate
that
through
was just
finding
called
what I was
Human
meant to
Design
be
Society
doing
because
with my
everyone
life.
wanted to know
I
more
refused to
in-depth
believe
human
in the
design,
culture
and
that
I
said
was
we were
teaching
all meant
workshops
to
in
have
there
the
all
same
time,
path
every month for
and
a
boring
year and
careers
something.
until we retire and
And
die.
I
And
realized
along my journey, I
that
found
I
human
don't
design,
just believe
a
in
system
human
that
design.
reveals your
Like,
energetic
I'm an
blueprint,
incarnation
showing you
across
where and
contagion.
how to
I
access your body's
collect
consciousness
tools
and how to
things
live
that
as your
work
true
really
self.
well, and I just
Human
want to
design
vomit
changed my
them all
life,
over you.
so I
I'm
started
like,
sharing
look
it
at
with
this.
others and
So
changing their
because I don't
lives.
believe that
But
human
we were
design
all
is the only
finding the
answer,
same problem:
and
a
human
lack
design
of
is not going to
resources that
click with
explain the
everyone.
system in
I wanted
easy
a
and
space
useful
where people
ways.
could just
So I
explore
created this show
spirituality,
where we
explore
dive deep into
tools,
the
cosmic
lessons of the
tools,
human design
or
system without the
religion
BS and the
tools, things
noise you
like
find on
that,
the internet.
without
Listen
being
in for lessons in
pigeonholed
human
into, like, this
design,
one
finding your
thing.
purpose,
So we're
manifestation
finally
and
starting the
spiritual
astrology
practices,
pathway.
human
I have
design
a
within
goal
business,
to
and
start the
so
numerology
much
pathway
more.
by the end
We
of
connect
the
with
year.
other experts
Still
in the human
working on
design
that.
and spiritual
And then, of
realm
course, a more
in a
faith and
refreshingly
religion
honest
pathway,
way
which we're
to
kicking
help you
off with the
find
Mary
your way
Magdalene
along
and
your
Divine
spiritual
Feminine.
path and live
And so
this
it's all
life with
really
intention.
starting to come
It's time to
together
let
to be
go
my
of the
vision. I'm
societal
very,
expectations of
excited.
being
This
and
is
let
literally
yourself
that
find
spiritual
abundance
church
through
that you've
being
been looking for,
uniquely
where we don't
you.
tell you any
Let's
one
get
specific
started.
tool or system or religion is the way. We give you options and we give you support to feel like you can like take those options and run with them and dive deeper. So That's only $222 for an entire year. Goes away June 30th. The link's in the comments. Join us before that is gone, or join us monthly. Whatevs. I love you. I want you in my space if you're here. So I want you there. Okay, now let's dive into the episode where we're sharing all about the weird financial shit over the past few months. Enjoy. Okay, we are back with the Weathervane Witches today. But before we dive into this conversation, this might be a little bit heavy or triggering because we are going to be talking about things like money and business, but also it could be really light and airy for you to hear what our experiences have been for the past few months. So before we even dive into everyone saying hi, Rachel would like to lead us through slowing down and taking just a few deep breaths. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, guys. I would like to do a collective deep breath in and out. We're going to do a 4 count breath. So count, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Shall
Beautiful.
we?
Yeah.
Deep breath in, hold, release, hold. Thank you.
Hmm. That was quick and easy. Thank you. For anyone who is new to the Weathervane Witches, we're going to do a quick little introduction before we dive into the topic for today. Also, you guys, I think you've probably been seeing it too, but people love hearing us talk on here. They just like love how we're not just like friends in real life, but we're sharing real life experiences. And I think these have been some of the most highly downloaded and rated episodes. So, just a reminder that everything you say here matters. Nicole. Hello, Miss Nicole Pope. Mrs. Wow, you haven't been a miss in a hot fucking minute.
Be a miss. Mademoiselle would be better. Hi, I'm Nicole Pope. I am an Akashic Records and Shamanic and Evidential medium here. And I'm actually going to set the intention while you are all doing some introductions to hop into our collective Akashic Records to help deliver whatever messages need to be delivered today. So nice to be here. Thanks, everybody.
Love that idea. Go you. Rachel.
Hi there. I am Rachel, known as the Good Witch of the Northeast. I am an Akashic Records. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Oh, are you soon to be?
I did
You
tell her
heard
this
it here
morning that
first.
needed to happen. So
Oh, that's wild.
Freudian slip there.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, I'm an ancestral healer and a psychic medium, and apparently don't know what I'm talking about. But no, I'm an ancestral healer and a psychic medium, and I'm leaning a lot into Celtic seership, so that's been interesting as well.
Ooh, that sounds sexy. And Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jess. I am an intuitive body worker and movement coach, and I have a brick and mortar business in Massachusetts,
That's celebrating its
which we're going to
13th
talk about.
birthday.
That what?
Celebrating his 13th birthday.
Oh yeah, big deal. That's wild.
She's
That's
like, I
wild.
forgot, but yes.
No, it's like top of mind, but also just like that can't be real. Like, did I get that date wrong?
Yeah, surviving COVID, dude. Like, fucking kudos.
Like,
Ah, okay, so the topic that we're going to start with today, who knows where it's going to send us, especially if Nicole and apparently Rachel are pulling from the Akashic realm, is the theme that all of us have had going on, maybe at a little bit of different moments in time, but since I think around February, I think I probably kicked it off and with my February vacation meltdown, right? I think that's what it was. And all of a sudden noticing that business was not just like slowing, but really coming to a halt. And then a lot of money slowing and coming to a halt. So that's really our topic for today. Interesting that all of us have been going through this. Same theme, different times, different kind of industries for some of us. But everyone here, if they've listened to the podcast for a minute, they know they've been watching me go through it for like 3 months. And now, wild, I seem to be like on the other side. I've had like one of my biggest financial months in a long time in May, but it is still, we're still peeling back the layers of whatever it is the universe has been trying to tell me. So I'll give a brief description if you are new here. Starting around February, I could start to sense that things were shifting, things weren't right. And then March, things really started to slow down. April, things literally were like nothing was coming in. I had very little bookings, nothing was happening. Literally had to dip into savings to start paying staff. Like it was rough. And instead of just letting myself sit in the shit and be like, well, I'm just going to close the doors, I just got really curious and I was like, okay, something's trying to come through here. I had the help of every single one of you here. Oh no, Jess, I have a massage with you on Thursday. That means prepare for the waterworks, guys. Every time Jess touches my body, I become an emotional disaster after, which is good. But it's just been wild because now everyone else is seeing that too. So I'm going to pass the mic to Nicole to let us know what you've been seeing since people here, for the most part, know what my last few months has been like.
I would say it's been this mix. I've had very consistent bookings since I opened my business quite a while ago. And I have found that pretty much every time I would have an open slot, it would be taken. So bookings have never really been too much of an issue with me, but I definitely have seen them slow down in recent months. And given the political climate of everything that's going on, I'm sure that will come up at some point today. I don't think it's an accident. And I think what's been really interesting for me, and we'll definitely, I'm sure, get into the weeds of this here, is that I come from a business background. Like I went to business school, I worked in private equity, I spent 20 of my years in corporate America. So I'm balancing and coming into this new version of myself where things used to be lined up. I used to have a salary. And when money's not coming in the door from this job, apologies for the ding, I would freak out. And so this to me has been less, I'm going to say reflective of what I think is going on in my business and more reflective of me and my personal growth, and needing to do an energetic 180 for me internally. So yes, I guess I have seen it slow down in the recent months, but I'm taking this as I need to do a 180 with me and my business and my energy. So, and spirit is lovingly giving me space and time to do that. And I'm trying my best not to freak out, but I know everything's going to be okay and everything is coming just as it should every single day. And I will hand it over to Rachael.
Hello again. I actually agree with Nicole. I wrote down the personal growth thing. I love that. I'm also going through a business, I wouldn't say decline, but this is the slowest it's ever been for me. I don't know if it was the fact I was very energetically and financially accessible before, and now that my readings are getting a lot more intense and more in depth, that maybe that's it. But I can tell you there is a direct correlation between business for me and my personal life. So I'm going through a lot in my personal life right now in my like blood family. And I'm an ancestral healer. So to have all these, I would say toxic cycles, because that's what they are, pop up. And now if I was as busy as I was last year at this time, I wouldn't be able to process it, B, recognize it, and C, be like, how do I get ahead of this? I know what's going to happen next, and I'm going to help. And it's been really helpful, but it's also challenging to sit here because as an ancestral healer, my family grew up skint. Like I come from, my family came over right after the, I would say famine in Ireland, because that's how people classify it, like know it as, but it was like a genocide in Ireland. And that's when my family fled here. So ancestrally, there's a lot of like not a lot of root chakra security when it comes to money for me. So it's been really challenging to sit in these moments and be like, I have enough. And not even just to shift to gratitude and toxic positivity sense, but to really expand my awareness and be like, I have food, I have clothes, I have shelter. And not only do I have these things, but I'm in these moments of lull, I'm trying to make sure I'm giving back. Like I'm still giving to a houseless person on the street. I'm still gifting to charity. I'm still donating my things and my time. Like even though like for me personally, like money is not where it should be, business is not where it should be in my mind, but it should. I know that this is just temporary. And some of that is like your guys' friendship and realizing that like you guys go through this too. I'm going to get to the other side. I find myself telling myself all the time that it's not always going to be this hard. Things will shift eventually, but it's been really, really challenging because, to not have anything on your books is like, why? And then how to not internalize it, right? When you lose followers, when you lose clients, it's so hard. And you're someone who gives, like, I give myself so clearly to my clients. I'm like, this is me, this is all of me. And then people are like, I don't want to book with you. I'm like, but you don't like me. I know that's not it, but it's been a really challenging space, but also really rewarding because I'm doing the 75-day hard and it's giving me time to like integrate and move through all these things. And I think the act of physical discipline is really what's getting me to recognize the energetics behind everything. So it's been really, it's like a roller coaster, like terrifying, but also like there's parts of it that's really gratifying and really like rewarding. And I will turn it over to Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I can relate to so much of what you just said, Rachel, especially like taking it personally. And I think it speaks to this kind of bigger, broader theme that no one has mentioned yet, but I think is so incredibly important, which is money is energy and it's also emotion. And we have so much shame around money that even in this conversation, I'm thinking like, okay, so how do I tiptoe around this without oversharing or being too vulnerable, right? Um, but the reality for me is like we mentioned, I've had my brick and mortar business for 13 years, survived COVID. There's been lots of ups and downs throughout the years. But and statistically, like I'm pretty busy because I'm established in the industry. And so as a body worker, like I have regular clients. I go through long stretches of times where I don't even accept new clients personally. I have other people who work here who do see new clients. And I recently, again, like closed my books. And then in the last 3 weeks, I've had 5 regular clients. What that means is these are people who see me every week, every other week, or once a month. All of those things. People are often on a very regular schedule because I do get so booked historically. I've lost five regular clients in the last 3 weeks who have reached out to me because they can't fit it in their budget. And so in the wellness industry, these are things that people view as auxiliary, extra, disposable, a luxury. And echoing what Rachel said, it feels very personal because I'm like, but this is, I give you everything. Like I give you my heart and soul. And you don't want that? Like it's not worth $150 or whatever. Like, but then stepping back, like I've had to do a lot of work around money. So I think I'm unique in this group of Weathervane Witches in the sense that like I'm a single mom. Like I don't have another income in my household. So I can get very panicky around money and it's really important. I don't have I can lean into, money is energy. Yes. All of these concepts. But at the end of the day, like I have to pay rent. I have to feed my child. Like I don't have anyone helping me do that. So I can very easily slide into that masculine. Okay. I'm just going to work harder. Okay. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to like work these weird hours that someone wants to see me, even if it's really doesn't fit with my lifestyle. So I haven't done that in at least a year, probably a couple of years. I've really like worked through a lot of stuff around money, but I think it's the shame piece for me. And the fact that I do think money is both energy and emotion, and we hold and feel emotions in our bodies, right? Which is like my kind of thing. So for me, I'm using my breath, my awareness, and also just knowing that you can't, like, you just kind of have to ride the tide. Like, I feel like owning a business right now is kind of like standing in a river that's changing direction, and like your impulse is to fight the current, but really you have to lean into it. Like you just have to go with the current and figure out how to flow. um so yeah, I'm hogging the mic per usual.
Stop saying that. You are never hogging the mic. It's an open throat. You feel like you're hogging the mic and you're not. Um, yeah, everything you just said, I'm just like, yes, I like took so many notes because I'm like, especially when it comes to like the wellness budget and massage or like these other things. That was one of the things that last year I had put on the back burner when we were like, shit's getting weird. We got to reassess. And then Nicole reminded me, she's like, you're a healer, and that's like an energetic expense. Thank you to our tax woman who I now use. Thank you, Nicole. She's incredible. And honestly, I don't know if I would have moved through the last few months, like whatever energy I'm still moving through as quickly if I didn't have Jess massaging me. And I specifically said that instead of just any massage because she is an intuitive and she, correct me if I'm wrong, but also did a little bit of Reiki and like just you knew exactly like what to move. And that's why I made the joke of like prepare ladies because after historically every time Jess massages me, I'm like 5 days of just like, why am I so emotional? But it's so good. It's like moving all of that through. Um, and I second everything that you guys are saying. I even think I saw Rachael get the chills when Jess was talking. You did, yeah. I can't even remember what it was that she said now, but I saw you get the chill. The river, the current of the river. Yeah, exactly. The way that I am seeing this, it's so interesting because yes, business was like pulled back from me financially, but opportunities were like crazy. Like I had my first keynote speaking. I was on a yacht with some of the coolest people. I got invited to this retreat that like seven-figure business owners are attending. It's a private invite only thing. And I'm like, okay, so we need to come back to it's not always about the money. And I think for me personally, the universe is preparing me to step into a new financial bracket almost by like expanding my nervous system to see what I can handle and what I need. Ooh, Rachel's like ding ding ding. Yeah. Because I really had to go deeper than I ever have before these past few months. I mean, I have more expenses and it was just a wild ride and I am still going through it, but I finally have my creativity back. That was awful when I didn't have that because of course any business owner could be like, you could just launch something and make money. And you guys know I had nothing. I had nothing to draw on. I was like, I'm tired. I don't feel creative at all. Super in depression. It was rough. It was really rough for me. Um, I feel like I was going to say something else and now I lost it. Oh, and it's also interesting as we're moving through this. I realize I haven't gotten permission from him to say this yet, but we can always edit this after. It's so funny. We think that like having a job working for someone else is going to be more stable, right? But my husband didn't get paid on his payday last week because his company, which does not seem to be doing well, didn't put money in the US accounts. So no one in the US got paid. I don't know when they're getting paid. And I am just seeing this as all part of whatever I'm moving through. I do think I'm stepping into something bigger, hopefully being able to carry the family at some point soon. But you never know. Like there is no consistency, even if you work for someone else, you just never know. So it's just been wild exploring and unpacking that. And I'm doing the To Be Magnetic Money Challenge, which kicks off today. I'm very excited for that to see what I can step into. But I'm going to pass the mic to Nicole to see if there's anything you want to add there.
I want to call out specifically what you just said. And I think I have been, let me see if I can get my thoughts together, because I think the universe makes space for us to grow and expand in ways that are really uncomfortable, right? And I liken it to, I'm currently going through this decluttering mode all throughout my house, right? Like we have probably since COVID or before then, really just gathered a lot of things physically, energetically. Things have been good, economically. I know there's been a few ups and downs, but for the most part, we have taken and added and added and added. And now we are at this energetic place where we can't add anymore. We are literally topped off energetically. And what worked in the past is no longer going to work in the future. And so, what this is in my mind, because it's not just the four of us, I'm sure there's people listening that are resonating with this as well. This is like a giant reset for every single one of us. And this is our opportunity to figure out, are we in alignment, or are there things that we need to remove? Because you need to remove before you add and get more in alignment with where you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to go here in this universe. So when I hear things, Adriana, like there's space, but there's opportunity coming, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because we're not standing still. Everything that we do is in a cycle, and we have been in summer, and I say this ironically as we're in summer right now, for a very long time. And we're moving into fall and winter where we need to bring it back in. We need to have respite. We need to have rest and make that space so that we can continue to be more expansive and grow and change. And I can tell you personally, if I were not in the current energetic space where things are slowing down from a reading perspective, from a client perspective, I would not be getting the downloads that I'm getting right now. I would not be creating this new program I'm going to launch, hopefully in the near future. I would not be able to clear out the old energy that weighs me down and hinders my ability to connect with spirit more deeper than I ever have before. And so I liken everything that's going on right now in my world as not a challenge, not I think when I started, I took it very personally, Jess and Rachael. Like, I think I did start very personally, but then I realized it's not about me. This is all happening for me and my growth. So every area of resistance I'm encountering right now, I'm taking as a challenge of what's out of alignment. How can I move into more alignment? Is this something that still is on my highest and best journey, or is this something that needs to be removed from my path so that I can make space for more things to come? And Adriana, like, I'm hearing that with your husband, right? Like this sounds like an opportunity for him to assess, is this his highest aligned journey, or can he provide more value and actually get more value himself if he chooses a different path as well, right? Like, so I always like to say resistance is not a failure point. It's an opportunity point to do better, to be better, to have your best life. And I will hand it over to dear Rachael.
Wait, was that Akashic or was that straight up Nicole?
I think it's a little bit of both.
That was like a mic drop. I don't know if I can follow that.
Yep.
Great. I'm just kidding. No, I love what you guys are saying. And this all, like, when I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I wrote down money equals emotion, echoing what Jess said. And then when you said that it's almost like spirit, Adriana, is healing your nervous system to be able to handle the upgrade, money equals emotion. Like, this is absolutely, like, it's just confirmation to me that this is A, the conversation we need to have, and B, this is the conversation that needs to be had with a lot of different people. And also the fact that, like, I rely on you guys. So I'm going to echo what Nicole said too about, I've had so many downloads about my own personal life, my own healing, and also like the collective. Like, I haven't been posting a lot on Instagram, and normally that I would have guilt around that or shame around that. And I'm just like, it's not it right now. Like, I literally can't. I don't know if it's like the dark night of the soul. I'm not sure what it is, but I can't. And I'm not beating myself up about it. For about 4 months before this slump came in, I found myself telling my clients our job is to listen to our body and really only do what feels good. You know, granted, that is a privilege, but to kind of have that be like our parameters. And that's what I've been doing. And I was on Monday, I was sitting in meditation, and that came, like, I heard myself say it in my voice, and I was like, oh, that's what I've been doing, like fleece lining my life, right? Like, I'm very conscientious about the energies I take in, because, like, I can't give a lot right now, but I can be, and I can exist, and I can share when I can, if that makes sense. So being open and honest about the money thing, shame totally like resonates with me, and being open and honest with clients, friends, and family about where I'm at energetically has been helpful. And also I wrote down that leaning on your guys' modalities during this time has been incredibly helpful. Like, using my human design as an emotional manifesting generator. If I feel frustrated, now I know to stop and be like, what's out of alignment, and being able to pull back in. I'm going through something in my personal life right now with, like I said, my birth family. I had a reading with Nicole. She did a mediumship reading with me, and my mom's mom came through, and that's whose shit we're healing right now. My mom's mom came through and shared a lot of clarity is a really good word to use. Like, really, I always knew she had mental struggles. I understood her to a certain extent, but she really came forward and shared a lot of things that made sense to not only my personal life, like me growing up and everything, but like the situation I'm going through right now. And it's been so helpful. And like using Kundalini, when I've been doing 75-day hard, I go on my walks, I think about Jess taught us about like the energetic light body and being able to charge that on my walks. Like, even if the sun's not present, like being able to like have this version of myself kind of walking beside me or in front of me, and charging that and being able to step into that, like almost as like body armor, if that makes sense. So leaning on, not just on you guys to receive me and hold me, which is, I love you all for indefinitely, but what you guys do and what you guys teach has been so helpful, because I can't do it all myself. I don't know everything, and I do need help from time to time. And that's been another thing that like it's different and terrifying, but also good, you know. Did I answer anybody's question? I don't know.
There
I
wasn't
said
a
everything I
question.
wrote down. Okay, good. I said what I wrote down, I think. So, okay.
I love that you said you're fleece lining your life. That's like my favorite quote thus far. But to speak to actually what Nicole mentioned about everything kind of being in cycles and patterns, I was thinking about that too in relation to this conversation, and how there's like the contraction and the expansion, right? And you know, I always talk about how time isn't real. And like, so basically, like all of the phases are kind of happening simultaneously in like the broader realm. Um, but it does feel like right now, like we're in a contraction phase, like collectively. And contraction leads to transformation, right? So it's that expansion out. It's not stepping into new energy, I'll say, because I don't know that it necessarily has to be bigger or better or this or that, anything specific, but it is going to be different. So it's kind of like leaning into like, oh, this curiosity, this kind of like, oh, who am I going to be next? Like, how am I going to expand next, right? Because we carry all of our experiences with us that we've had thus far, all of our gifts, and we have this opportunity to like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And like, this is scary. And like, oh, what the fuck? But it's going to lend itself. Like, I've been here before, you know, it's going to be, everything's going to be okay. Like, right now, big breath in, slow breath out. That's all it is. It's just an inhale and expansion, and an exhale, a contraction. We're filling up and we're letting go constantly. So we have this beautiful opportunity to allow ourselves to transform without resistance. And then we can avoid all of the pain, you know, that we might experience with the stress of it, just by letting ourselves like step into that energy of abundance, because abundance is in the mind, right? It's not necessarily in our bank account, although that's nice, but just being like, you know, I have time now to create a new course like Nicole's doing. I have time to go hang out with really cool, influential people on a yacht like Adriana. You know, I have time to deal with what I need to deal with my birth family, like Rachael. Like, for me, I have time now because I have been wanting to create more of an online based brand for quite some time. And I'm just like, oh, but I'm always hands on with somebody, or I'm teaching a class, I'm running from one thing to another. So, very intentionally using this time with awareness to open up to what's next. I think that's what's been really important for me. And you know, this is like a newer thing. It's like this week, I'm like, oh, okay, well, instead of like feeling like I have to scrounge and like beg people to come in and book with me, I'm going to make time for this other thing that I've been kind of conceptualizing for a while. I think like letting go of what no longer fits, whether it's an offering, a client, some aspect of your life, a price point. Letting go of all of that is not loss, it's actually leadership. So, stepping into that role of a teacher, role of being a leader, it's just, this is like all another opportunity for that. And staying connected, because when we step into fear, we disconnect. It literally physically can pull us backwards, right? And then if we're physically moving backwards, we're energetically probably 10 times that, if not more, moving backwards. So that concept of abundance, I think, is something worth talking about, because the world profits off of our disconnection. So if we can stay committed to diving into these spiritual practices, diving into self-exploration, and staying committed to the things that feed that part of ourselves, which is really honestly like our true self versus like what the mind says that we are. I think there's just so much value and opportunity in that.
And I feel like the word abundance, people can feel like, oh, I'm so tired of hearing about this. But honest to God, that is like what it all comes back down to. It is the being present with what we have today and now. And the more abundant that we feel personally, the more we can give to other people, whether it's service or monetarily or anything. So that's why I think it's like so important to like go get that massage, like do the things that make you feel good, because it's not just about you. It is about the collective and what you're able to give back to the collective. And it makes so much sense that we're all going through this, because this is a 9 year in numerology. This is the year we all knew is the year of the snake. We're going to shed a lot of shit. And I think we all knew about this happening, but we're just like, oh, wow, this is like hot and heavy. Like right when the year kicked off, we were like, okay, this is happening. And I agree. It's been like a full reset for my business and me. Rachel, I'm so curious to hear what that face is. Coming back to that. But for me, I had to really get scrappy and look at my expenditures, and for my business I'm talking, and I was like, okay, well, I need to let a lot of stuff go that I'm not using anymore. It's really about streamlining, but also as far as like what I'm offering to the world, I guess you can call it your product suite. Things are changing. Things are going to be changing, and this is something I've learned over the last few months. It didn't all like it wasn't all making itself present. I had to sit and just get curious about what's happening. But now I'm starting to recognize everything, and I'm just like, oh, because I need to do this, and oh, this was getting a little lackluster. I need to give this more love. So there's a lot that's going to be changing in business, in my business personally. But then also just for who I am on a personal level, like Nicole was saying, there's a lot of growth I've done, and I need to just like recalibrate to this new level of me instead of going back to the what has been working, because I don't want to be what has been working. I want to be what's going to work for me next, what I aspire to be next. And that's a different version. That's a clearing of the calendar more. That's a, we were just talking about before we started recording. I'm going to go start working in like luxury hotels and being around wealth mindset more, and just getting myself out of this little hole I'm in of thinking like I live in the armpit of Massachusetts where nothing is exciting, and stop using that as an excuse and go drive to places that make me feel really good about myself, because I can't physically move my location right now with my oldest daughter here. So I need to find a new way of being. And it's been really interesting to just see in just a few months, like how I'm recognizing what this version of me needs personally and in business. Nicole, pass it over to you.
I'm going to pass it to Jess. She raised her hand. Go ahead, Jess.
I did. We talked about the hand raise. I just had this thing come to me about nervous system hygiene. I feel like this is going to be different for all of us, but Adriana, for you, nervous system hygiene is going to the luxury hotel to get work done. Like that sounds awful to me, but like nervous system hygiene for me, I'm not sure what that looks like, but I don't know. I think that's kind of like a cool concept to individually work out.
1000%. I like that. It is, it's gonna feel like taking like a nice bubble bath. Yeah.
I'm laughing about that just because that's literally what this program is that I'm working on right now, because I think we've all forgotten what it feels like to be in homeostasis, because we have been able to push through anything that we have been wanting to push through, because everything has been flowing so easily for all of us, right? There hasn't been a scarcity mindset out there in the collective. So it's really like, no matter what we put out there, people are like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds so interesting. And now there's just this, again, this collective reset. And Jess, I love what you're saying with like, go with the flow. And the more that you push against it, the more resistance you're going to create, right? And then what's going to happen to your energy when you start pushing and you start resisting the flow? Because I guarantee all of us, if we try to push against this and do what has always worked for us in this new energy environment, we are going to go down in flames even more than we already are. And so that is really where the collective is at. And I love, Adriana, where you're going with this, because I do see this as a giant awakening. I do see this as people are finally waking up and they're figuring out what is in alignment for them, what works for them, because scarcity mindset makes you look at what you value. And right now, everybody else is taking a look at what they value as well. And it means that even though in the short term, we have slightly less clients because they're doing that assessment as well, in the long term, we're going to have a bigger pool of clients, because more and more people are going to spend less money on Amazon, less money at Walmart, and they're going to spend more money on mental health, physical wellness, etc., because that is what brings our nervous system into homeostasis. And so this is a short-term loss for a very long-term gain for those of us in this more divine feminine energy, because the divine masculine is going down in flames right now. I'm handing it to Rachael.
Really well said.
For real. Like there's like such a crash out. It's crazy. But so that face I made, well, yeah. Okay. The face I made was, I don't know if you guys remember, no, it brought, okay. So one of our first times we hung out together, we did a road opener spell the very end of December. And that was when I learned that we were moving into a ninth
Wait,
year.
so is this your fault?
Shit. I asked and I got fifth dimension, and the card says, so for people who are not looking, it's a card of, it's almost like the Rocky Horror lips with the teeth. It's a little trippy. And there's two other mouths in it. And then, which sounds weird. And then there's a rainbow coming out of it with a bunch of different flowers. And it says, you are ascending. Be gentle and nourish your human form at this time. Exist in a state of love, not fear. So even if it is my fault, I shouldn't feel bad about it. I don't think it is. I think it's timing. But I just put that together. I was like, oh, shit. And also, like, I agree with Nicole. If you do push against it, I did push against it for 3 months. I got pneumonia. I got fucking flatlined. Like, I got like pushed. I got sick. So that's what will happen if you push against it. Like, they will come and like sit your ass down if needed. And also, like, to reflect too about how massage and things like that for people like us, it is a business expense. I've heard that from a few different people. I got a massage once in 2022, and the woman's like, my God, what do you do for work? I was like, I'm a tarot reader. She was like, when was your last massage? I was like, I don't know, a year ago. She's like, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you, lady? But fair, because I was so, from keeping everything with me. So just to reflect all of that. And then it got me thinking too, Nicole, you had mentioned how, the scarcity mindset, and to dive a little deeper into it. And that made me realize that we're a lot freer than we think we are. Like, there's many times where I read people and my spirit guides will show me an image of them being at like in the corner of a room, and they're almost like running up against like a sim, right? Up against the corner of the room. And they're like, just tell them to turn the fuck around. And it's like, we just have to turn around because there's this wide open expansionness behind us. Like, I've had so many interesting ideas come to me. And for so long, I told myself I can't do certain things. I don't know why. But I've healed that versions of me. So now I have a lot more creativity. I have a lot more things that I want to offer to the collective and offer to the world and put on my website that I don't think I would have had time or space to even consider if I didn't have this slower season. So yes, it might be slower in the financial sense, but to also reflect about how abundance is the thing. Abundance is the thing. Like, it's not just money. Abundance of compassion, abundance of security, abundance of empathy. All of these things, they are not really well suited for this political fucking climate, right? It is. We are the weird ones. We're the soft ones. Ridiculous. ridiculous. And so if anyone's listening and they're in like kind of the similar space that we are, just remind yourself of like, we're the ones holding the cards. We're not built to exist in a world of capitalism, of no empathy, of not helping one another. We're not meant to. We're meant to exist in a world of balance, of duality. And there's not any of like, I don't mean like good versus evil, but like light versus heavy. I think that's a fine way to say it. And because that energy feels really heavy to me and the other energy doesn't. So I don't know where I'm going with that. More along the lines of like, this is giving me hope in so many ways. And I feel like it's given me a lot more clarity too, like this conversation of I hold a lot more power than I think, you know, and it's not just about, you know, like as Jess brought up was a nervous system hygiene. I realized the other day I haven't cleansed myself in like forever. And it was something I used to do every single day. And then I got lazy with it and I just put like cinnamon above my office door. So when I would walk through, I was like, that's enough. I'm like helping people heal generations of ancestral trauma. Like we're talking about generational curses and like old school magic. That shit's not enough, you know? And it's a little bit about, for me, I've learned in this process is reprioritizing myself and my physical health and my mental health, my wellness health is really what's going to bring me back into alignment, thus bringing me back. Because I'm not useful to anybody if I'm stuck in the shit, if I'm not helping myself, if I'm, just sitting around smoking weed. Like I'm no help to anybody like that. So it's really about like clearing myself out and holding myself accountable and being open to different possibilities. And that's right.
I think, yeah, speaking directly like to the listeners, I have had the hardest time with the word surrender. Like, it's not a new word. We all know what it means. Like, we've heard it our whole life, probably. But like last year, someone said something to me like, well, Jess, like, you really need to learn how to surrender. And I was like, fuck you. I do not need to do that. Like, nothing about that sounds good to me. Like, I have to stay on top of things. I have to plan and be in control. Meanwhile, I'm like, step into your sacred feminine, like, and there's like this disconnect there, right? So, what's been really valuable for me over the last, I'd say like 10 months or so, um, acknowledging my aversion to the concept of surrender and look, I previously looked at surrender as just like complete loss of power, completely like giving away your autonomy. And acknowledging like, oh, what, having an attitude again of curiosity, why is that so hard for you? And then kind of working through that. And of course, like when you open your mind to something, you get signs from spirit. You get, I'm reading a book that's like very sciencey, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, like that's what surrender means, and then conversations that comes up, or like a song or an experience that you have, these messages keep coming through. So for me, I know like what I am meant to acknowledge and learn from this period of like change, contraction, whatever you want to call it, is that surrender. And even surrendering to whatever is, surrendering to the present moment, and understanding that surrender is so powerful. So it's the most powerful thing that you can do, because it steps you out of ego and puts you in connection with spirit and reminds you who you actually are, broader picture, who you are and why you're here. Why are you here? Why are you here right now? And without these kind of difficult moments, and when we're like at a loss, like, well, I can't figure this out. I can't make sense of it. And I can't figure out what my next step is. I don't know what to do to fix this. Well, okay. You have to just not try. Like, you have to just be open to this spaciousness and just know. I mean, eventually, for me, I've been very blessed that eventually things work out. Like, yeah, things can be really hard. I have to change some things sometimes, but specifically related to money, I think money is emotion, but like I'm hearing myself talk and I'm like, money is also time, right? In our sense, like we actually sell our time for money. So I'm trading maybe some income for some more time and spaciousness in my life. And I can surrender to that because that's a really beautiful thing. And it allows me to be more in my feminine. And I think, you know, money doesn't obviously define your worth. Money does not define your worth, but how you relate to money can reveal where you're willing to heal, where you're ready to heal, and where you have the capacity to heal. And I think, you know, people in our position where we have kind of communities that we're speaking to going through this healing, also an opportunity for leadership. So I think that's all.
I'm going to share something, and I want to sit with it, and I might want to edit it out.
That's fine.
But in the BDSM community, in a traditional dom sub relationship, you're taught that a submissive actually holds all the power. And on paper, yes, a dom has all the power, quote unquote. No, because nothing is given without consent of the submissive. And really, the submissive is the one. And that's what's like, ugh, but that's what's been so healing to me. And I need to actually apply those mindsets to my business of like, where am I surrendering? Where am I able to make space? Where am I able to let it flow? Because I'm still so rigid with it. And so like, it's me, it's my fault, it's me. When in reality, it's not just fucking me. Sit down, shut up, get in child's pose and let things happen. So
get in child's pose. Yeah, something that really helps me when it comes to the word surrender, because it is like people just keep saying, let it go, like surrender. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? For me, what helps me is going back to this or something better. It's always this or something better. And that almost leaves open this like world of possibility. And it gets me back into curiosity, which was one of my core values, just being curiosity. So, okay, this or something better. And it's interesting as we're sitting here talking through all this. Rachel, I'm also finding so much clarity as we're talking through all this. I don't know if this is just because I'm hitting my nodal return or if this is something that you guys are experiencing. I'd be curious for you to reflect on it. I am currently manifesting things from my like childhood or like early like 20s that were on like my lists and my vision boards since like the fall, which is interesting. Like the car that my husband had ended up having to get was actually one of the cars that was on my vision board when I was young. Going to Puerto Rico finally with my whole family, that was on my list. My the dog that we are rescuing from Puerto Rico, when I was young, I always said I wanted to rescue a Sado. And then now I've got my new Suburban, which did not come through the way I would have wanted it to. But that's always been on my vision board. And I'm just like, wait, is this like, am I rounding out this phase of the younger me and stepping into the new one? I don't know, but it's just making me reflect on that. It's so wild because you would think when we get obsessed with like our businesses and like nothing's moving, nothing's happening. I'm like, look how much shit I just manifested in like 7 months and I didn't do anything. The other day I was like, man, I want to find a new book to read, but I want it to be like this and this. And then my friend reached out. She's like, hey, my book launched and she told me what it was about. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I got it in the mail yesterday. I'm already like 8 chapters deep and I'm like, asking you shall receive, even in the smallest ways. So it's so interesting. Is anybody else like calling in things from younger years, or is that my nodal return happening? You are, Rachel?
definitely. I was reflecting on it the other night about how much in like the very beginning of my witchcraft journey, so like 2016 to 2020, I was still so stuck in like trauma that I didn't know what I wanted. So when people are like, what are your goals? I'm like, I didn't know I was going to live past 18. So my goal was always to exit early, and that never came to fruition. And thank God. But also like I would always just write, I want emotional safety, I want a happy family, I want to be able to help my family members that aren't happy. And I was on Friday, I was looking at my old journal, and it was like all of these things that I had written from such a broken place. And I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, it's here. I wrote in 2016 that I want to be a well-known reader, and like I am a well-known reader now, like not just like on this podcast and stuff. Like I met someone at Jess's studio who was like, I'm a big fan. And I was like, me too. Cause I thought they were talking about your class. And she was like, I meant of you. And I was like, oh shit.
She's
Such
so
a
fucking
Rachel.
humble. She doesn't even literally, it's not that she can't take a compliment. It's that she did not realize it was a
Such a
compliment.
Rachel response. Oh. So it's just such a crazy thing to look at. And like, I've really been sitting with it of like, what a flex that is, you know. There was no happy marriages in my lineages, and now I'm in a space where like I feel so safe in my life, you know. And that's something that like I really do. A lot of my healing has been since my daughter was born, and I credit a lot of what I love about my life is to her arrival, not just like her making me a mom, but like her coming here made me reparent myself and love myself in a way that I've always needed, and recognize that like I put these crazy expectations onto people when I just wanted to be loved in a certain way, and that I can do that myself. So yeah, I also agree. It's crazy.
Mhm. Anyone else want to add to that?
Years. I think I'm in the same space, and I love this, especially given the 9 year, right? That this is going to be all about cycles ending. So Adriana, like what I'm hearing with this journey of yours and being able to manifest these things that have been out there seeking to be manifested for so long. This is the end of the Adriana as we know it, right? Like kudos to your podcast listeners, because this essentially is closing out all of your old dreams, and now you're making space for new dreams. And now you're now going to change your vibration, because all the things that you wanted, they were wonderful, right? But they were part of the old Adriana vibration level. And now you're inviting a new Adriana vibration level. And now you get to sit in the luxury hotels and like see what the potential is. And I also want to reflect back, like a couple months ago, all of a sudden alcohol was removed from my system, right? Like that. And this is probably ancestral. This is probably like all these things, but all these old things that I was not only not like I can actively move them out through the somatic work that I've been doing lately in terms of the ancestral trauma and all these old energies, like Rachel's talking about wanting to be loved, wanting to be a certain type of mom, but also spirit is forcing these old cycles out of me on purpose. And again, like I could resist it or I can go with the flow. So yeah, I think this is the time where and by the way, I'm a 9 in a 9 year, so shit is going to end for me. Like there is no doubt about it for me. So I welcome all of these reinventions and the closing of these books. And I feel like I need to say it because someone is going to be listening. Whoever is moving through old friendships and people who are shutting you out on purpose, like let that be a sign from spirit that they're not supposed to be in your life. So whatever is being forcefully or I want to say the word regretfully because I think there's a little sadness with it too, but whatever is being forcefully removed from your energy without your say so, say good riddance because it wasn't aligned for you to begin with.
That's awesome.
I don't know, Rachel, if you're getting any other intuitive hits of that. I could just feel
when she looks off to the side.
Yeah.
A butterfly flew by and I was like, oh, okay. No, you're right. Like bid it adieu, but also make sure you honor what you learned from that, right? Especially if it's like a friendship, especially if it's something that's coming and like taking the rug out from underneath you, make sure you honor where it has served you and where you don't need it anymore. You know, that's something that we don't talk about enough, is about how like we really need to look not just self accountability, because that's obviously very important, but also like where has it served you? Where have you served it? You know, like make sure you hold space for grace with that as well, like grace for self.
Preach. Does anyone else want to add anything before we wrap up? Okay. I mean, that took a turn, but I think that was absolutely perfect. And something that I just want to offer for anyone listening, if they're feeling like this stuckness is hitting them, and whatever that looks like for you, is just start clearing things physically. Like I purged my entire garage this weekend. I've purged many other things in my house. I'm just like on a roll. I'm like, let's make space. Let's make space. So that can be something if you feel like you're sitting in the stuck and you don't know what to do. If you feel the need to get active and move your body, start clearing things, even if it's simple, like a bathroom drawer. Let's go through, and your links will be in the show notes, but just pop out real quick where people can give you a follow and connect with you. Nicole?
Mediumnicole.com is my website, and I am Medium Nicole or Medium Nicole A on most of the socials. Rachel?
Perfect. I am the Good Witch of the Northeast across all socials, and my website is thegoodwitchofthenortheast.com.
I am at Beam Your Heart on Instagram, and my website is JTB, my initials, JTBWellness.com.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for doing this, for being here. This was a really great conversation. It helped me, so it's going to help a listener for sure. Thank you guys. Love you. Thank you for being here.